New Champions League season's underway with a bunch of new matches, big matches already here in day one, week one. A huge thing about these past two couple Champions League seasons that's is going on is the new format. The new format had a lot of controversy when it was announced a few years ago. I remember hearing about it, and everyone was, "Why change something that is perfect? Don't fix something that doesn't need to be fixed." And personally, for me, I think this new format has been miles better than the group stage. Group stage, you have the four teams, and you have one best team who's obviously going to top the group, a second team that's a contender and obviously is going to get second, and then the bottom two, Europa League qualification, and then the smaller team that gets knocked out. And sure, there's going to be some dark horse team that will maybe top the group, get second place, or there's going to be a upset from a big team. But here in this league phase, every match is important. Big teams going against big teams, and it's just nonstop, just craziness, nonstop games after game, points after points. Big situations. Um, I already did a tier list of who I think will get the top eight, and then the 9 through 24, and what teams are getting knocked out. But just looking at this, for me, I think this is more stacked than last season. You have five Premier League teams this season. I don't think that's ever happened. I remember that top three qualifies and fourth place goes to a qualifying stage to make it to the Champions League, like Liverpool did back in 20. I want to believe what 2018, and yeah, look, you see an Ajax, Inter, Arsenal, Bilbao, Atalanta, PSG, Bilbao, Arsenal, Atletico, Liverpool, Barca, Newcastle, and those are just 6 games. You scroll here, Dortmund, Juve, Chelsea, Bayern. You can even say Frankfurt, Galatasaray. That's still going to be an interesting match. Liverpool, Atletico, City, Napoli. De Bruyne going against his former team, Marseille, who has for me a really underrated team, going against Real Madrid, who struggled last season. These storylines are just um, they're just crazy. These storylines match up well, personally for me. Um, but yeah, let's go into game after game and see predictions of who we think will have. Um, Actually, before that, I want to see which player will have the biggest impact. Which player is gonna have an amazing season this year's Champions League? And you can obviously say the Mbappe's, the Lamines, the Dembele, the big name star players. But a player for me has always been underrated is Kenan Yildiz. Kenan Yildiz has been a player that I've been obsessed with for a couple years now, and he was in the Bayern Munich academy, and he was also getting small starts early, like 3 years ago, and then finally I think up until maybe last season, even the season before that, he was starting to get minutes, starting to become that player for Juventus, and in the Club World Cup, and even last season, and especially now this season, he's shown why he's Juve's most important and most reluctant player in that team, and I think he's gonna have a breakout year this season. His FIFA card is a little a little low rated, but I think Juve are finally getting back to the rhythm of where they need to be. They have a young squad, they have veterans in the squad as well, and I'm really excited to see what Juve and Kenan Yildiz will do this season in this Champions League. Game number one here, we have Athletic Bilbao going against Arsenal. Uh, it's a tricky one for Bilbao. Their last, they were runner-ups, or not runner-ups, but they were, tied with Madrid after winning, the only team to win 3 games out of 3 in La Liga, and then somehow loses against Alaves and loses against Osasuna. Uh, you know, Bilbao do have a strong team. I'm a huge fan of Sansit. He's a player that, in Real Madrid, I would love to have Sansit. But I think at the moment Madrid don't need a player like him. I'm a huge fan of him. You have Nico Williams, you have Inaki Williams as well. Uh, Laporte just joined back Bilbao from Al Nasser. There was a little problems going on with the transfer, but that's finally done sorted. Maybe he'll come off the bench. I'm not sure if he's in the squad list. Nico's out, but you have Vivian who's got called up by Spain a few times, and I'm really excited to see this match. And then we'll head over to see Arsenal, and you see this team. This is just prediction lineups as well, but you have Eze, Goikrez, Madueke, Saka, who just can't stay fit for his life. Uh, he's out till late September. Havertz, Gabriel Jesus has been injured for as long as I can remember. Odegaard is out, and Ben White. But the thing with Arsenal, they signed so much of that in their team. They can take sacrifices. They can take players being hurt because they just have the bench to do for, and that's why I think they will become the Premier League champions. I don't think like as like right now, Liverpool don't have a right back. Bradley out and Frank Pong was out, and Dominic had to play right back for a few games. And then you know at the moment you have Isak and Ekatike. You just lost Luis Diaz. You just lost rest in peace Diogo Jota. So I don't think Liverpool have that. Yes, they signed Verts. Yes, they signed these big money signings, but I think Arsenal still have a higher advantage. I'm a huge structure. That's the key thing, structure. But as a Groikers, Mudueke, Zubamendi, Declan Rice, Marino, Odegaard will probably start, but Marino's just like a great versatile player. He can play up top, he can play in the midfield. He's 100% that player. He gets you goals. Calafiori, swap him, Lewis Skelly, great back-to-back options for Arsenal. Gabriel Mosquera, who had a great game against Nottingham Forest. Uh, Swap out Gabriel Mosquera. You have Ben White. You have Calafiori who can play center back. You have Saliba, obviously. I know I'm forgetting Hincapi, who just joined Arsenal. And then right back, you have Timber. Swap him out, Ben White. Um, just great versatile. That's why I think Arsenal will have the higher edge. And then you have that David Raya in goal. And when I say Simon in goal for Bilbao, two Spain's number 1 and 2 goalkeepers at the moment. And then you see their bench. You have Kepa Arrizabalaga. I was a huge fan. He had a great season in Bournemouth. I just wish he joined a team where he can actually start. Skelly and Capi, Saliba, Martinelli, Trossard. And of course you have these injuries, but they will be back soon. Havertz out in October. He looks great in preseason. Here you can see the last matches. They lost against Liverpool, last minute free kick by Dominic Soboslai, but they've won every game pretty comfortably. Besides the United one, I think United were actually playing a bit better. But I think this is preseason, I believe. But yeah, insights. Bilbao hasn't scored in the last 2 matches, so this is gonna be really interesting. I'm really excited for this game. It's starting pretty early, so I'm gonna be able to watch it. I hate intertwining with 2 matches, but yeah, very excited to see this game here. Next match we have here is, honestly, I don't know much insights. PSV versus Union Saint Gilles. PSV. I'm really happy to see Ricardo Pepi, the American, back. He had a great season, then just has to have a serious injury. Same with Serginho Dest. Um, but yeah, I don't really know these players. Some of them from career mode, like Saibari. It's and Vermin, of course, Perisic. Uh, besides, I don't really know much about the team. I know PSV. We'll check in their last matches. They've won. Uh, they've won. They beat Sparta. I think it was the Super Cup. I want to believe. Oh no, is it round 1? Okay. It always switches back. But yeah, they've won for 4 of their 5 games. They're still undefeated. Saint Gilles. They a Greek team, a Belgian team, great. And I can't go back. There. But besides that, I don't even think I know a single player from them. Can't really have much insights. I think PSV will probably get the win. They have known strong players. They have Kovar in goal. Um, he's on loan from Bayer Leverkusen, he played in Manchester United. He was the backup during the invincible run for Leverkusen, and shoot, for me, when he was in goal, he was great. And those links, maybe United willing to bring him back, but that wasn't the case. And yeah, but with this match, PSV versus Unison Gilles, I think PSV will win. Who knows? Maybe I was gonna say comfortably, but you never know. And then here's Benfica. Benfica, um, they always come up with Benfica versus Qarabağ, who I'm gonna guess a Greek team, Azerbaijan. Go back here. Um, Benfica, they always produce talent everywhere. You know, this in goal you have Pavlidis who scored against a hat trick against Barcelona. I like to believe. I know they have a. I can check the bench. Interesting. Um, you know, he's showing his talents. I'm pretty sure he's Greek. Hopefully, uh, and Sudakov, I'm pretty sure he is from Hungary. I want to believe. And then left wing Schneider up and Ersnes at the right. I like this midfield partnership. You know, Barrenetxea, who was in Juve, who's on loan. Um, at his time at Juve, joined Aston Villa for a swap deal with Douglas Luiz and Ling Jr. That didn't work out. Both of them didn't work out. Went to where was it? What did he play last season? He played really well. Uh, was it Valencia? I guess it was Valencia. Played really well. I thought it was that was playing somewhere else. Played really well there. Benfica saw his talents, and same with Richard Rios, who's always been a known player for this past 2-3 years now. Colombian, both key youngsters, both for me, come on career mode, and they've always been a career mode pickup for me. Same with Antonio Silva back in goal, Otamendi, a veteran, leading this Benfica side. And for Korberg, don't know really much. I don't think I know a single player. Uh, so I'm just gonna have Benfica winning this match. They have a strong, really capable team, and I'm really excited to see Benfica in this Champions League run. They are the underdog, one of the key underdogs for me personally. Now this game I really wanted to see, but it's the same time as Real Madrid, which is a shame. But here, let's start off with Juventus. So it's Juventus versus Borussia Dortmund. Up top, you have Jonathan David, you have Vlahovic. Um, I don't I think I'm positive they don't have Colomboani anymore. I think he's Tottenham. I don't remember. Uh, they just had an amazing match against Inter. Every goal was a banger. Against Juve versus Inter Milan. Vlahovic started that game. Got subbed out. Youngster scored from the academy, but I think slowly, Juve will get back to the level where they were. I'm a huge fan of their team. It's weird under Thiago Motta they didn't perform as well. Maybe did they sack him too early? Maybe, but he wasn't playing their players right. He wasn't playing. He would bench Yildiz one game. He would start. It was a confusing moment for Thiago Motta. But now slowly, they're getting better. Jonathan David came as a free agent from Lille. He's always been. I'm surprised he didn't leave Lille sooner. Even after winning the league title a few years ago. Finally, he gets his move, and I'm really happy for him. He's always been a player that, when I've done, like I said, in my career modes, I'm signing him at Liverpool. I'm signing him wherever team I coach in career mode. But Jonathan David, you can swap him for Vlahovic. Vlahovic, it's crazy because he's still young. He's still capable. And it's a shame that he's not lived to his expectations for Juve. You have Koopa Miners and Kenan Yildiz. Like I said, Kenan Yildiz is going to be a starlight player and hopefully in this Champions League campaign. Huge fan of him. As a Madrid fan, I'll take him in a heartbeat. I'm a huge fan of Kenan Yildiz. Koopa Miners, who joined from Atalanta last season, he had a slow start. Slowly picking back up, but I'm a huge fan of Koopa Miners. He was rumored to Inter, I believe, and Manchester City. I'm trying to remember from last year. And then you have Thuram, who played really well against Inter, and then you have Locatelli in the midfield, Cambasio, Kululu, who's in AC Milan, and you have Lloyd Kelly, the former Newcastle man, Bremer, Gatti, and then really underrated goalkeeper, the Giodio. And then you have Milik out with Miretti out. can't, not sure why I can't see their bench. Um, South Caustic, Jonathan David got an assist when he came back on. I think it's pretty much it for you rating her bench actually. And then here you have Borussia Dortmund with Guirassy, Adeyemi, Bayer. For me, this Dortmund team, you're used to the likes of seeing big superstar players like a Sancho, a Bellingham, a Haaland, a Aubameyang, a Royce, um, etc. And now when you really look into this team, you don't see a crazy player. Maybe you want to say Guirassy, maybe Adeyemi, and maybe a Bellingham. But besides that, people don't really talk about a Bayer, a Svensson, a Ryerson. Um, it's a time. It's an era where Borussia Dortmund, they don't have star-like players. You want to say, but for me, even after that poor Bundesliga start of the season they had in just clinching Champions League at the last day of the season, uh, they had a great Champions League run, and they do have an underrated team. They just gotta be back in rhythm. We check in there, they lost in the Club World Cup against Dortmund, but they are at the moment undefeated. A lot of injuries, they also, of course, you can say Schlotterbeck is probably one of the most known players. You can say Nicolas Sewell, but you also have Emre Can, Fabio Silva, who just joined. Um, but yeah, you can't count out Dortmund. They've looked really good in the Champions League these last 2 years. If league wise doesn't show it, but somehow in the Champions League they perform where it's at. So I'm a huge fan of this team, and I'm really excited what they'll do in this Champions League campaign. This match I really made a whole video about. I'll go briefly. Uh, this is the predicted lineup they have. Franco and Trent getting their Champions League dart reported by Madrid Zone that they will start this match. Um, I'm really excited to see Real Madrid football back. I'm a Madrid fan. Always been a Madrid fan, and just really excited to see it. And again, and also this Marseille team, you can't not count out this Marseille. You can't, right? You have Aubameyang, Timothy Weah just came from Juve, Mason Greenwood, Nadir Højbjerg from Tottenham, Kondogbia from Valencia from the last time I remember, Emerson from West Ham, Roma, Pavard, Bayern, Inter. You look at this team, it's just the players that have been around Europe. Um, really associate that. These players, and they put them all together. Murillo, I'm pretty sure PSG. I want to believe. Nope. He's from Red Bulls. Uh, how do I not remember him? He's from Panama as well. But yeah, really, I made a whole video about this, so there's not really much talking about it. I really pretty much gave my insights on that. But really excited to see Real Madrid football back. A huge fan of Val Carreras, Dean Huijsen, new signings. Really need to see Trent and Franco pick up a little bit. They're of course new, playing in a new environment, in a new league, in a new country. Of course, I don't want to say Huijsen played in La Liga, same with Carreras, but they both are Spanish. They both, um, probably know the technical wise of the league already. Um, Next is the last match. Here we have Tottenham Villarreal. I'm a huge fan of this Tottenham team. Richarlison has been picking up pace. He's been a little sloppy these past couple of years since joining. Um, but I love the signing of Xavi Simons and Kudus. I think I'm really excited to see Tottenham in the Champions League. Wish I could watch all these games, but it's just not possible. Lucas Bergvall, who's I remember like it was yesterday, so close to joining Barcelona and chooses Tottenham. Probably for me his best decision because as of right now, Barca's midfield is pretty much stacked. But Benacer, former Juve, and then you have Slamasar. For me, I'm a huge fan of this Spence. I like Spence. I also like Udogi. Van de Ven, I'll take him in Madrid in a heartbeat. I'm a huge fan of Van de Ven. Christian Romero, Pedro Porro, and Vicario. Even their backup goalkeeper is just as good. But if you look at this injury list, it's huge. That is important. Depth is important. In the team, and you have a striker like Dominic Solanke. If you put him up top here instead of Richarlison, you have a really strong contender to compete. But Dominic Solanke's out. Ryder Drugson, I was a huge, not a huge fan, but I was really key to see him more. But injuries is always the case, and that poor last season with a bunch of injuries of the entire team. Just was hard. Dejan Kuleveski, former Juve, of course, and he's out until early November. And James Madison with that terrible uh, ACL tear that he had during preseason. And then Bismosa, who has knock, so I'm not sure what that is. They've won every other game besides the game against Bournemouth. You can't count out Bournemouth; they're a strong team. But they beat City pretty comfortably, and I'm just really excited to see. And this Villarreal team, they just lost Europeano, which is pretty huge. They have a Jose Perez. Uh, when I look at this Villarreal team, doesn't I know Cordona, Vega from Chelsea, Foy from Newcastle. I want to see he's in Newcastle, unless I'm tripping. Oh no, he was in Tottenham. I knew he was in the English team. Uh, Mourinho Jr., Nicolas Pepe, of course. Um, for me, I had Villarreal just making it, I believe, from my prediction of the table. Joe Marino, at the time, Spain's number 9. They have looked a little off during. I mean, of course, Let's Go. We're playing bad, so I had an idea of maybe Villarreal picking up pace, or not picking up pace, but able to get a win. He was going Nico Gonzalez, who was in Juve as well. But I think Tottenham are going to win. They have a really strong team. They spent money this year, which is huge. Thomas Frank, we'll see what he does in his first Champions League campaign under Tottenham. But yeah, besides that, that is pretty much all the teams for day 1. We'll see what's in day 2 for a little bit, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. Um, the game's just getting me crazy. At first I was like Olympiacos, Paphos, Slavia Prague with Boring Limp. They had a real strong Europa League campaign, the Swedish team. Or Danish, one of them too. Ajax, Inter, Ajax don't have that superstar team as they had a couple of years. But also Inter, for me, you're dropping in form, especially in the Club World Cup. They didn't look as... Was it in the Club World Cup? I don't remember. Even in Serie A this year, I don't think they're performing at the level that they were. Bayern Chelsea, one of the biggest matches you always see in rerun. You remember the Drogba. I remember I was little, just remember seeing the Drogba header, penalty shootout, everything. Liverpool, Atletico. Liverpool want to get their get back after Alvaro Morata and Marcus Llorente a few years back. And then PSG, Atalanta. I want to say they've went against each other in 2020, 2021. I'm trying to remember, but um, we'll get into these predictions tomorrow. But hope you guys enjoy today's video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.